Hi, my name is Nicole Rodler. I'm the Rochester Police Department's Juvenile Court Diversion Coordinator.
Eddie Edwards, I'm a retired police chief.
And Gould, I am a lieutenant at the Rochester Police Department.
Brad Sargent, I'm a lieutenant with the HANOVER, Hampshire Police Department.
My name's Lara, Saffo. I'm a prosecutor in Grafton County.
Ned Gordon, I'm a circuit court judge. I sit primarily in Franklin and Concord.
My name's Thomas Ryan. I'm a graduate of the Restorative Justice Program.
My name is Dylan Geyer. I'm a 24-year-old business owner who has successfully completed the Juvenile Diversion Program. That was 6 years ago, and I still reside in the New Hampshire area, and I currently give back to my community as much as I can because of the program. One of the first steps when you go through the program is you do have to admit guilt. You have to admit that you did something wrong to get there, and that's the key component. You have to realize that it was your own mistake, your own decision that got you there, while also realizing it's going to be your own decisions that get you out.
And so I had just left a friend's house. I had marijuana and my pipe and scale and stuff in my backpack, so I figured I could leave it out in the bushes and no one would find it, or that it'd be a safe place. I went into the meeting, I came out, my backpack was gone, and I ended up just going around asking people if they had seen a backpack, asking the front desk, and the next thing I knew, someone had come over and they said they found your backpack, and so they've gone through it and they found all that's in it.
Generally speaking, unless someone commits a crime against a person, then quite likely they're going to be eligible for referring them to a diversion process. Commonly, the most frequent offenses we see are violations of alcohol law, also a first-time offense of violation of the drug law as well, are the most common times in which we divert somebody.
I knew it wasn't best, but I didn't know it was wrong. That was my mentality, and so this was kind of the first little slap in the face or wake-up call I had. How am I going to go to school? How am I going to be able to get financial aid? I know that financial aid there was a big bearing of whether or not you had alcohol or drug charges. So I went home, and one of the first things I did, I hopped on Facebook, and I put my status as bye-bye college.
When I was 17 years old, I was making the decisions that most children should not be making. I was damaging people's property, I was using drugs, I was bringing them into a school setting, and I was making the decisions that most people should not be making.
Youth make mistakes. It's the nature of being a youth. The brain is still developing until age 25, if not older. So to be able to give them an opportunity to turn things around it's a golden ticket, as I refer to it in my program. It gives them that chance, and any jurisdiction, police department, judge, that feels that a youth needs to go into the court system first is missing that big picture. It's called juvenile court diversion, for the sole intent that you're diverting youth from creating that other record out there.
Well, I sit as a circuit court judge. As circuit court judges, we handle juvenile matters that come before the court. Generally, petitions are filed by local law enforcement agencies. At that time, we'll make a determination as to whether we're going to go forward and have an adjudication, which is in essence a trial, or whether or not the youth is able to participate in a diversion program.
It's a matter of, in your role and your position, you have a responsibility to young people. And your responsibility should be to make them whole as best as you can. Here's a tool to do that. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that?
As the juvenile prosecutor, what I do when I get a case, I work hand in hand with our juvenile diversion coordinator, Nicole Rodler, so that we can make sure that all the appropriate cases that we have that are for first-time offenders go to her program. And they have an opportunity to go to the diversion program, really so that they have a chance to keep the case out of court, to not start an adjudication process, to not start a court record, and to give them an opportunity to realize they made a mistake, They take responsibility for that mistake. They work through Nicole's entire program, and they realize that in the end, even though you had a mistake, you can still successfully work through it so that you can be a contributing member of society, and not every mistake you make should just make you just give up. You know, you can still move forward from there.
The second step is going in front of a jury of your peers. From there, it's kind of like a mini courtroom. You're over there discussing what you did wrong. The jury of your peers is weighing their decisions, and they're going to come up with a plan, a task for you each month, each week, each day for you to complete.
We all want to see kids be held accountable for their behavior. And what we look for is a way of doing that without necessarily having to brand them as delinquents.
They will meet before a panel of community volunteers, be it either adults or teens.
Case by case, they look at who you are, what you've done, what your potential is. The panel sits before you and you sit before the panel.
Where they talk about what led them to be there and what we can do to address the situation, be accountable for the situation, but build into a healthier future for that juvenile as well.
And they look at you as a youth with a future and say, okay, well, how can we allow them to realize that they can't keep doing what they're doing, but also continue to have all the doors of their future open.
We try to assess why they've become justice involved, determine their strengths, determine any weaknesses that might be impacting their lives at that time.
Depending on what they see in you or how they see you, they'll prescribe a certain amount of community service. The community service I did was at the senior center, which is where the staff meeting was that I actually got busted at. So.
No one gets off easy with diversion. Diversion is a program based on accountability.
Rather than punishing a kid for some type of misbehavior, if you could send that kid to a program where they can do community service, write letters of apology, go to educational workshops, all of these for the benefit of that young person, and have them resolve their misconduct, take consequences for their conduct in that way. It makes much more sense than just sending them to court and then finding them delinquent.
We need to think about you when you were a young person. I'd say all the time to adult people, we all make mistakes. And in my personal life, before becoming a police officer, I made mistakes. I had a contact with the juvenile justice system where you met with law enforcement officers and they diverted you from a continual path down a rocky road for most young people. So when we think about encouraging police officers, the courts, teachers, parents in supporting a diversion program or referring young people to diversion programs, we need only to think about our stewardship and nurturing of young people to keep them out of the system.
Not every kid needs to go through the court system. Not everyone needs to be held to that high level of a punishment to learn from their mistakes.
Every time I refer a child to this program, I never see them again. And I think that kind of speaks volumes right there.
From the program, I ended up being able to have a clean record, to be able to apply for financial aid, get it, and end up at BU, where my life ultimately changed.
Isn't that revolving door of people giving back from their own situation, there is no way to keep creating people to give back for their situation. And that's exactly what the program does.